On page 2.1 and 2.2, we are going to look at translating algebraic expressions. So writing out in math what is written in words. So we're going to start by just looking at the different words that you will see for each operation. So we'll start with addition. The formal word for addition is sum. To find the sum of two numbers is to add them together. You might also see plus, more than, the total, and increased or increased by. When we look at subtraction, the formal word for subtraction is difference. So when you find the difference of two numbers, that means you subtract. Instead of plus, you would see minus. Instead of more than, you would see less than. I'm going to put a star by that one for something that we're going to look at in a little bit. Instead of increased by, we would say decreased by. I can put it here, but subtracted, which again basically just goes from the subtraction. So those are going to be the words you look for in order to subtract. Multiplication, the formal word is product. So when you find the product of two numbers, you need to multiply them together. Also might see the word times or times by. The word of in math tells you to multiply. The word per in math also tells you to multiply. Things like twice or triple. So twice, triple, double. So these would be times 2, and triple would be times 3. For division, the official word is quotient. So to find the quotient of two numbers means you divide. Obviously, you could just say divided by. This next one I'm going to put down on the bottom because when you say half of a number, that means you can divide by 2. But I'm also going to put it over here because half means you could also times by 1/2. So it's kind of up to you if you would rather times by 1/2 or divide by 2. Now up here with the subtraction, I put some stars by a couple of them. That's what this watch out is 4. Okay, if you see less than or subtracted from, that tells you need to reverse the order, flip the order around. Now, a lot of these will have more than one answer depending on what order you want to write it in. So right away that happens in number 1. If you translate it how it looks, 5 more than would be plus some number. If they don't give you a specific number, you can use whatever variable you want. I'm going to use n. A lot of people use x or the first letter of your first name, whatever you want to use for your letter. So that's an acceptable answer. You also could have n plus 5. You start with the number and then do 5 more. So either one of those is completely fine. Number 2, the quotient of a number and -2. So you're going to do n divided by -2. So if you use the division sign, you're going to need to put your -2 in parentheses. What I would prefer you to do is to start using the fraction bar as your division. So n over -2 is the same thing as n divided by -2. Again, either one will be counted correct, but I do want us to get used to seeing this one for division. Twice a number means multiply it by 2, so 2n. You don't need a multiplication sign at all, just 2n. Okay, here's our backwards one. A number decreased by 7. So you start with your number and then you take 7 away from it. Number 5, the product of a number and 12. Product again means multiply. So you could do n times 12, but I don't want you to write it like that. 12n is how I want you to write it. Three subtracted from a number. Most people want to do 3 minus n because that's the order. This is where you have to flip it around. You're taking 3 away. So you need to start with your number and take 3 away. N minus 3. These two are very different. If we go back and look at number 1, addition, the order doesn't matter. So that one can take either way. Subtraction does matter. So if you have 3 minus n, that will be counted wrong. Number 7, earning $15 per hour. What you're thinking is, how much do I make if I work 3 hours or 4 hours? You would multiply. So 15, I'm actually going to put h here to represent hours. Again, if it doesn't tell you the variable, you can use whatever variable you want. Number 8, 5 less than the cost of the ticket. So again, most people want to put 5 minus c. I'm going to put c for cost. That is incorrect. You're taking the cost and 5 away from it. So it has to be c minus 5 in that order. Number 9, the sum of a number and 24 just means n plus 24. If you have 24 plus n, that's not incorrect. Number 10, 50 markers divided among several students. It doesn't tell us how many, so you could do 50 divided by n, or you could do 50 over n. Either one of those is correct, but you're taking 50 and dividing them by how many students there are. Number 11, 2/5 of a number. When you have a fraction, 2/5 of means multiply, just set it right next to it, 2/5 n. Make sure the n is not in the top or the bottom, but it's right next to it in the middle. Number 12, half a number minus 19. Two ways you can do this. That's why we wrote both ways up here with half. Okay, so you can either do 1/2 n minus 19, half of a number minus 19, or you can do n over 2 minus 19. Those are both the same thing. Multiplying by a half and dividing by 2 are the same thing. Number 13, 11 less than the product of a number and 4. So we have two things. We have subtraction and we have multiplication. This says 11 less than, so that means you need to start with the multiplication and then take 11 away. So -4 times n, we write that as -4n, and then less means minus 11. The total means addition, of 8 times a number and 5. So this and is just putting the addition together. So 8n, 8 times a number, plus 5. Number 15, the difference, that's subtraction, of a number squared. So n squared, difference, subtraction, and then 14. Make sure with the squared you write the small 2 up above that number. Number 16, 3/4 of a number, so 3/4 times n plus 17. We are not going to do the ones where you have to write the words out.